I'm still not at peace with the election results, and here's why. If we had record turnout, if we had so many new registrations for new voters, the numbers literally don't add up. And what I was thinking just now is, so when we see how powerful a Black woman is, that in, what was it? Did she have 3 months, maybe a little over 3 months? She could bring the country together. What is a fantastic way to destabilize that shit? Because if she is put in the office of president, then we're going to have more people working together, which means people will be making more money, quality of life is going to be better, and we're going to stop. Oh, just woke up. We're going to stop just believing what the rich white men at the top say. So what do? You destabilize the election, you cheat, because you know that a lot of Democrats are going to say, hey, that's what happened. We're just going to accept it. No, y'all, we need to fight because something is not right here. Because now you have Black women understandably saying, hey, we're not going to do any more labor for you guys, which means that the very people that were healing the fractures in the fabric of this country are no longer going to do that. And who benefits from that? White billionaires. Also, we need to ask the questions that smart people ask. Like, wait a minute, you're saying there's record turnout. We're seeing these numbers at Trump's rallies versus VP Harris's rallies. All of a sudden, he's mad quiet. Why hasn't that dude been on like a press tour? Because usually we can't get that man to shut up, and yet crickets, crickets, crickets. Probably because he doesn't want to say too much so that we don't actually look into the election results. I just want us to hang in there and trust whatever is going to unfold over the next month, because it doesn't feel finished. It doesn't feel finished. And I'm seeing that people are being counted as not having voted when they did vote. We have a lot of mail-in ballots. It's just, it's not adding up. The best thing they could do is disenfranchise the women that were getting to the top levels in business, in government, in all of the industries. The best way to discourage Black women from ever like taking a stand, because the only people they're afraid of really are Black women. These old white rich men are afraid of Black women because they know we get shit done. So what do they try to do? They try to disenfranchise us. I mean, this goes back to, I mean, look, when they made the Black women tie up their hair, they thought that it would like make us look ugly or unattractive. But listen, okay, they could never. They keep trying to find ways to dim our shine, and we keep finding ways to keep shining. So while we take our break, while we indulge in necessary self-care, all of us, let's just remember the God we serve. Okay. And I'm not saying necessarily Christian God, I'm saying God, universe, whoever you believe in. Let's remember that there are forces at work that are seeing what we're seeing. And I want us to really start remembering who we are talking about. These are people who would lie, cheat, and steal, and rape, and murder. And they do it in front of our faces. They've done it in front of our faces. So why are we expecting them to fight a fair fight, y'all? Like, why would we expect that everything they're reporting is true? And here's the thing, I am not a governmental conspiracy theorist. Like, this is the first time that I'm really like looking at things differently. And I think that we need to question everything. Got it? Everything. Something is not adding up. And I think there's work being done behind the scenes that we don't know about yet. So y'all hang in there, hang tight. But especially to my younger Black women, it is not over. They're scared because they know our power, and they wanted to discourage you from ever using your power. Don't fall for it. Don't fall for it. And y'all know that man has never met a microphone that he didn't like, as evidenced from that horrible video of him doing what to the microphone? During slavery, they strategically planted seeds of distrust between the enslaved people that were lighter skinned versus the enslaved people that were darker skinned. They also took away our drums so we wouldn't communicate with each other. So really, I want y'all to think about it, because I think it might bring some peace, because it sure brought me peace when I realized this. If we weren't powerful, they would not be cheating and stealing this election. And the thing is, in elections past, they didn't really have to worry about Black people shifting the vote, not in my lifetime. So it's like, yeah, they were concerned about it in 2012 with President Obama, because they were not, they were definitely surprised by how many Black people and young people came out to support President Obama in the first election. Second election, they were more concerned. But really, y'all, it's because we're magnificent. They don't want us all talking to each other. They don't want us all working together, right? Like, definitely go check and make sure that your ballot was actually counted. definitely check and make sure your ballot was received. And if not, contact your senators, your congresspeople, like raise hell on social media, because y'all, it's not over. And I feel crazy saying this. I feel a little delulu saying this, but oh, this is what I want to say. Kids that go to private school, and like, the wealthiest kids that go to private school and boarding school, they're taught differently than public school kids, and not in the way you think. They're taught to question everything. They're taught to question everything. They are encouraged to question everything. And it's not the same in public school. If the teacher has time, yes, you can question everything. But the teachers in public schools are so overloaded and underpaid, it's not their fault, right? They are given an incredible burden to bear. But public school kids are taught to be obedient and to follow directions. And I wish I could remember, I read this in an article and it made so much sense, because when I went to Presidential Classroom back in the late 90s, I remember thinking like, wow, these private school kids are like really, they're like adults, you know? So I want you to think about that, and about our initial reaction. Our initial reaction to the election results was to accept it. And what I'm saying is, let's lean into our higher selves and question everything. The way that these oligarchs and these billionaires get in the way that they run everything is so that they create this false sense of comfort and this patriarchal sense of them being the experts, and that they will take care of you. So we get comfortable and we don't question everything. But this is where we need to start questioning everything. Private school kids are not, my 3 nieces are in private school, okay? Private school kids are taught to question everything and to use critical thinking skills. In public school, that's not what we're taught. The only kids, the only public school kids who are taught critical thinking skills are kids in the gifted program. I was taught critical thinking skills, but when I had to go to like a whole other program for the gifted program. But when I came back to my regular classes, we were never talking about critical thinking, or what critical thinking is, or how to use critical thinking skills. That's my experience. Maybe you had a different experience, but I'm willing to bet the majority of public school kids were not taught how to think critically in the same way that private school kids are, if they were taught at all. I was taught starting in 2nd grade about critical thinking skills, and it definitely affected how I interacted with my peers. Like, I just saw the world differently. I see the world differently. I ask, anybody who has been in a show with me knows that I will ask a lot of questions. It doesn't benefit the people at the top to have everybody know how to think critically. So let's start questioning everything, because they are playing in our faces and they're assuming we're going to just accept it because that's what we've done in the past. But they're so quiet. They are so freaking quiet because they're afraid that if they move too quickly, we're going to realize that they have cheated and stolen this election. So y'all, ask questions, get angry, do your research. We need to let them know that we're on to them, and that we're not just going to believe that what they say is true. If it doesn't make sense, we need to be asking questions. We need to be demanding answers. If it doesn't feel right, it's because it's not right. And I think that moving forward, we need to stop just believing politicians, and we need to trust our guts. Our guts are collectively saying that they're playing on trauma that already existed. So yes, I think that all of the calling out of the POC community for not showing up, white women for not showing up, yes, that is warranted. But that is only part of the issue. So they are playing on that trauma to get us to not look into the voter fraud and election stealing. It's actually, I gotta hand it to him. It's evil genius, evil genius. But also, that's who we're dealing with here. If Elon Musk is not an evil genius, then what is he, other than somebody with a terrible hairline who makes these cars that look ugly? Like, every time I see somebody driving one of those Tesla tanks, I'm like, oh, you've got a small dick. You have small dick energy. They're counting on us to not dig deeper. That's what they're counting on. But let's not fall for it. Instead of fighting each other, yes, we need to work all those issues out. But those are 2 separate things. Okay, the issues I named that are still very much a part of America and very much why this scam worked, we will deal with that. And also, let's see what they have up their sleeves, because they are hiding something. And if we don't raise hell about it, listen, he's not in office yet. There is so much time for an investigation, a recount. Like, y'all, it's not over.